Good morning, all. Welcome to the session on writing a Angular application with GitHub Copilot. So in this particular video, let's see how to configure the Angular application before starting with the coding with GitHub Copilot. For that, let me open up my file explorer and try to create a new Angular application here just by clicking on terminal. So here, let me create a new Angular application. But before creating an Angular application, let's see if the Angular CLI is already installed in my system or not. So for that, ng-version will give you the Angular version already installed in your system. So for me, it's already 14th version of the Angular already installed. So now let me create a new Angular app just by saying the command ng new StockWatch. It will ask for some options. Let me close. And now let us see some of the third-party APIs that we are using in this Angular application. The first third-party API that we are using is this, where we will be able to get all the stock based on the country value by passing the country name as a parameter. And the second third-party API that we are using is to get all the time series values by providing the symbol of a particular stock, and along with that some of the options such as the interval and the API key. And the third API is to post a wishlist stock to my JSON server. And the fourth API is to get all the wishlisted data from the JSON server. So let us see if the application has been created. Yes, the application has been created now, and the StockWatch is ready to code. So let me move to that StockWatch and let me open it in the Visual Studio. Here the Visual Studio has been opened with the StockWatch. This code has a boilerplate in it, and some of the dependencies already existing. As I already said, we will be using some of the extra libraries of Angular, such as Angular Material and Angular CDK. So let me add those dependency here. So for that, ng add @Angular slash material and @Angular slash CDK. So Angular Material is used to provide us some of the extra dependencies which is required for the coding with the Angular applications to provide some Angular buttons, snack bars, mat card, and response so things. So this will provide us with some options. We can select all those which is required. So we can cross verify the dependencies just by going to the package.json file, and you will be able to see Angular CDK and Angular Material. And I was already said we need Angular Flex layout also to be involved so that the application can be made responsive. So for that, let me add Angular slash Flex layout with the version has. So since the new dependencies has been added, let me install the dependencies by opening a terminal here, integrated terminal here, and let's say npmi. Along with that, let me add some options such as legacy pdips. So this will install all my dependencies into my application. So what are all the dependencies that is required has been added to the Angular application. The next thing is, as we already saw in the output, where I'll be using some image to show it in the header. So that is coming from the asset folder. So let us create an image in the asset folder. As of now, the asset folder is empty. Let me add an image for that. For that, this is the image. So Control C, StockWatch, source, assets, and paste it here. So we have the image now already available. So the next thing is, as I already said, we will be using different components in the Angular application to create different views. So let's create those components by just opening an integrated terminal inside an app folder. So right click and open an integrated terminal. So the command to create a new component in an Angular application, let's use one more AI tool called a ChatGPT to get the command to create a new component in Angular. So for that, let me go to ChatGPT and just say command to create new component in Angular. So this is a AI tool which provides us with answers for any command that we require in Angular. So let's wait for some time, and it starts giving the command to us. So it gives some. So it says that in the terminal we have to run this particular command to create a new component. So let me copy this, or yeah, let me copy this. Go back to the terminal and just say paste. So Control C. So it's creating a component with a name, with a default name. So let's change it to home. Yes, we created home. Along with that, let's create a few more. So toolbar. Next, let's create a wishlist component also. And the next is to see show the time series values. Let's create a command component called timed component. So along with this, we need also a service class which makes a API call any REST API calls. So for that, to create that service class, let's go back to the ChatGPT and seek the help from it. So here I'll just say, so it start giving the things to us. So it's already saying that in the terminal we have to create this, copy this command. So I'll just copy this and go to the terminal and just say paste it. But since it is using the default name, let's change it to something called as stock. So this creates a stock for service for us. So now I will be able to see the different components that has been created for us to get started with coding. And along with that, there is a service class which helps us to make a REST API calls from Angular. Okay. So the next thing is, as I already said, since we have already provided some dependency here, we have to import that dependency into our application. So let's go to app.module.ts file and add some dependencies. So before adding some dependencies, let's take a quick diversion to GitHub Copilot here, because this is where it gets started to give us a recommendation. So you need to install add the extension of GitHub Copilot in your Visual Studio. So for that, you in the left panel, you can go to extension and search for GitHub Copilot. So you can add your GitHub, install the GitHub Copilot. Since I already installed it, so I will be able to see this. And you can log into the GitHub Copilot just by going to here, accounts, and you will be able to see the GitHub Copilot. Since I already signed in, so it need not to be signed in again. And in the toolbar, you will be able to see the GitHub Copilot icon here, which says that GitHub Copilot is up and running to help you out by providing some suggestions. So let's go to app.module.ts. Let's see if there is any Copilot suggestion that is being provided. So for that, let me add some modules such as mat button module. And let's wait for some time. And yes, the GitHub Copilot is providing me some suggestion which can be added. So mat button module is what I needed. And the next thing that might needed is the flex layout module. So I'll just add it, flex layout module. Yes, again, that suggestion is being provided. The next is HTTP client module, because if my Angular application has to communicate with the external APIs, so it needs a HTTP client module. So that's the reason. And then the next thing is a mat snack bar module that I needed, and the last is mat card module. Yes, it's also getting provided. So instead of using a mat flex layout module, I'll just delete it and I'll be using a simple flex layout module. So we have imported some of the modules, but it needs to be imported from the Angular slash material library. So for that, let me add some import statement and let's see if the GitHub Copilot provides some suggestion or not. So for that, let me say import and let's wait for some time. Yes, it's already giving me some suggestion based on the import statements that I already provided here. So it's giving me match button module has an import statement. Yes. And Let me add one more. And yes, it's trying to give me suggestion for a HTTP client module also. Let me accept it. And the next thing is import mat snack bar module. Again, it's giving a suggestion for that. Let me add it again. And the more last thing is import card module. So again, so it's already providing me the suggestion for the card module. So I'll click on tab to accept it. So now I have imported what are all the modules that is required, and I also written the import statement using GitHub Copilot, which provided me with some suggestion. And I'll save it. So before starting with the coding, let's goes to .html file of app.html component.html file. It already have some code because it's a boilerplate code which is already available when you create an Angular application. So since we are creating our application from scratch, let's get rid of all this boilerplate. So first of all, let's start with the service.ts file because it is the one which will make us our application to talk to the third-party API. So let me open it. So here, let's give them some comments to application to for the GitHub Copilot to suggest something. So for that, let me add a comment saying a constructor to inject HTTP client. So this is the command, which is the very first statement for the service class to get created. So here I just need to create a constructor class with the HTTP client to inject the HTTP client into it. So there is some suggestion that is being provided. So let me add that suggestion. And but the constructor has been created, but the HTTP client has not been injected. So let me inject it by just providing some hint. So private HTTP. So I am providing the variable for that. And let's see if it gives any suggestion. So as of now, the GitHub Copilot is not giving any suggestion for us. So for that, let us take an help of another AI tool named ChatGPT. So to get the extra kind of information with Angular, let's use this ChatGPT. For example, constructor. So let's say constructor in Angular to inject HTTP client. So let's say if it gives any suggestion for us, yes, it's already started to give some suggestion to us. So it's giving me some suggestion in the component to have this. So I'll stop generating. Okay, stop. So here it is saying to inject the HTTP into the component by using something like this. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. So this is the way a constructor can be defined to inject a HTTP client. So I'll just make a quick fix to import the statement. Done. So now I have imported the HTTP to make a call to the third-party API. The next thing is that we have to make a third-party API calls. So as I already said, there are 4 APIs that I am being called. So let me open that and show it. These are the 4 APIs. For the first is to get all the stock of a based on the country. The second is to get the time series of a stock and adding it to the wish list, post request to the wish list, get request to the wish list. Now let me try to create one. So by providing some comments to the GitHub Copilot so that it can understand. So I'll just say it as method to get stock data by calling the third party API. So let me copy this and let me paste it here. So basically here I'm just saying it as a comment to get the stock data by making a call to this particular API call by passing the country name as a parameter. Let's see if the GitHub Copilot gives me some suggestion or not. So enter and wait for some time so that it tries to give some suggestion. As you can see, there are 2 suggestions that is being provided, but I think this is more appropriate. So I'll just click on tab. Click on enter to go to the next line and click on tab. So basically, it's already providing me some suggestions, and that suggestion satisfying me as a developer. So I'm just accepting that to get the third-party API. So basically, the GitHub Copilot reads this and get me the third-party API call here. The next comment that I need is the to get the time series value using the symbol. So for that, let me create one more method, a method to call a third-party API. This I'll just copy this because this is the second API. So I'll just copy this by making by passing country sorry symbol as a parameter, by passing symbol as a parameter. I think it's already providing some suggestion for the comment also. So I'll just click on enter and let's wait for some time, and it's already started to give some suggestion. The GitHub Copilot started to give some suggestion to me. So I'll just click on tab and I can go to the next line, and again it's providing me some suggestion based on third party API that I already provided here. So wait, okay, it's providing me some suggestion, so I click on tab and you can cross verify it by just checking if the third party API is correct. Yes, it is correct, and it is taking the symbol as a parameter. Yes, and it is rejoining it. That's great. And the next thing that I need to is to make a post request to the JSON server, and the JSON server will be running on localhost 3000. So for that, let me create a method to call, make a post call, to make a post call to this particular API. So let me Control C and Control V. And let me wait for some by passing the stock object as a parameter. Since it is a post request, we should send some data, right? So stock object as a parameter. So let me tab it out and let wait. And yes, it is giving some suggestion for me. So add a stock. Yes. Go to the next line. Yes. And we are able to add the stock. So if you are not if you don't want the method name to be the same, you can change the method name as ever whatever that you want. So I'll just change it to add wish list, because it makes more intent. The method name is more intent, so add a wish list. So it's taking the stock as a parameter and it is sending it out. But as we can see, the stock is an object where we are making a call to the JSON server, so that the stock has to be converted into the JSON format. From object to the JSON format has to be converted. So let me give a comment. So instead of me writing it, let me give a comment to the GitHub Copilot. So convert stock object to JSON string, JSON object. Okay, JSON. So yes, it's already providing me the suggestion to convert it to the JSON and store it in a variable, same variable called stock. And since we are sending, there are some post requests which might require a header into it. So let me add a header here. Let's wait for some time. Yes, it's already providing me some suggestions. Like there are 3 suggestions that is getting provided. So I can choose any one among them. So since the post request has to be done on the Angular.json, the JSON format, so I'll just use this header. So here in this, let me add the headers. And the next method here we are seeing is to make the get API to get all the wishlisted stocks. So for that, let me create a method to make a get. Okay, it's already giving me some suggestion. Might be it's more intelligent. So it's already predicting my mind. So it's already giving me a suggestion to make a get API call to this. So I'll just accept it and go to the next line. Get wishlist. Again, it's giving me the name. Method has been created to get the wish list, and this is the API call. Headers has to go in this manner. So I'll just click on tab so that yes, it's there's no more error. So I'll control save. And now we will just recalling. So we will be able to see that we were able to create a constructor to inject a HTTP client. We were able to create a method to get all the stock data by making a call to the third party API. The next method is to get the time series value by making a call to this third party API. And we were able to make a post API call. Again, JSON, the GitHub Copilot gave me us all the suggestions that we needed. And again, we were able to make a get API call to the JSON server to get all the stock details, the wishlisted stock details. So this is about the server service class that we need to be created. So the next configuration or the next code that is required is, as we can see in the application. So here there are different routing for different views. So let's create that routing as of now. So let's go to the application. Let's go to app.routing.module.ts where there is a empty routes. That means there are no routes that has been provided. So let's define some routes here. So let's say define. So I am not writing any code, whereas I'm just providing the comments. So I'll just say define a route so that what are all the paths and to which particular component it must route to. So I'll just say it as path. If the path is this, if the path is empty, then it is the default route. And if the path is something like home, then it should route me to you know is the route to home component. Then if the path if the path is slash time series slash. So if you can able to see in the time series, it's not just a time series. We are trying to provide the symbol also so that the time series of that particular slot will be available. So for that, I'll just provide a symbol here, and it has to route to is the route to the time series component. And the last is path. If the path is slash wishlist, then it must route is the route to list component. So I have provided all the comments like what are all the paths and what to which component it should redirect me to. So I have given all the comments. Let's see the GitHub Copilot provide me the code, actual code or not. So let's click on enter and wait for some moment. Yes, it's already started to provide some suggestion to me. So as I already said, if the path is empty, it should go to the default route. Default route is nothing but the home route. So I'll just accept it. Next line. Home, if the path is home, it has to redirect to home component. Yes, it is correct. And if the path is time series slash symbol, it has to go to timed component. Yes, it is correct. And if the path is wishlist, it has to component goes to wishlist component. Yes, it is correct. Is there any suggestion to do? No, because I have provided only 4 paths here. One is the default path, home path, time series path, and wishlist path, and all the path has already been provided to me. So that's the reason GitHub Copilot stopped providing any suggestion as such. But here we will be able to see some error because we haven't imported the components into the file. So let's hover over it and make a quick fix, import. Make a quick fix, import. Hover over it, make a quick fix and import. Now the route is started and we are able to see all the routes. So let's cross verify by running the application. Let's go to terminal and just say ng-serve. So this will start the application. It will bundle up the application and it will start application. So let's cross verify if all the routes works fine or not. Generating browser. Yes, it's compiled successfully. Let me open up any terminal, a new window, and let's say localhost 4200. If it is an empty path, then it is a default. It is going to the default path called home. And okay, time series. So we are not able to see any output. That's because we haven't provided the configuration correctly. So in the app.html file, we have to provide the router outlet. That means whenever the Angular application runs, it redirects us to the index.html. Index.html in turns go to the app.component.html. Since in app.component.html we don't have anything, it will not show any output. So let's try to create a router outlet here. Okay, this is not how you comment in the HTML file. So this is how. So I need to provide a router outlet and let's see if the, yeah, it's already providing the suggestion on how to import the router outlet into the HTML file. So I'll just tab it out and control yes. So now if I go back here, you will be able to see time series slash symbol will go to time work, timed component working. So if I go to home, it's saying home works. And if I say wish list, it goes to wishlist works. So now the route is working fine. So this is how we can use the GitHub Copilot to write the routings in the app.routing.module.ts.
Okay, by this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you.